Today, in a New York federal courtroom, Sean Diddy Combs told the judge he was, quote, a little nervous. Brett Mogul's criminal trial began this morning. He is trafficking, racketeering, and more. The two sides are now in the process of selecting a jury of 12.
Tensions are running high in Diddy's major court case. On the third day of jury selection, the atmosphere in the courtroom is intense from the prosecution, Diddy's elite legal team. Everyone's feeling the pressure, but what truly shook things up? The judge introduced a familiar face in high-profile celebrity trials. Ben Chew, the renowned attorney who played a key role in Johnny Depp's legal victory against Amber Heard. His presence immediately raised the stakes.
Mr. Depp built a reputation as one of the most talented actors in Hollywood. A respected artist whose name was associated with success at the box office. Today, his name is associated with a lie.
In the first 2 days of jury selection, 167 people were brought in to determine who might serve on the panel. Out of that pool, 49 were immediately dismissed. The remaining candidates were given around 100 yes or no questions, focusing mostly on how they consume news and their opinions about. Some were upfront about disliking him, while others admitted they might struggle to remain unbiased. By the third day, the list had been narrowed to 35 potential jurors. This group is notably diverse, including professionals from design, social work, medicine, and manufacturing. Their ages span from the 30s all the way to the 80s, and they get their news from a wide range of sources: YouTube, social media, newspapers, and more.
Diddy trial that's coming up in a few days. I think it's coming up in about 4 or 5 days. How you feel about Cassie testifying against Diddy?
Yes, sir. First of all, it should be absolutely illegal for Cassie to testify against Diddy. When he paid her off, I believe there was an NDA involved in that situation. He was paying her off to shut up and go away. After all the money he paid her, after her signing an NDA, how can she then be brought back into court to testify against him? It reminds me of Bill Cosby. Some of those women who lied on Bill Cosby during his sex abuse cases had NDAs, and the court let them break the NDA. You never see this with a white man accused of the same. You never see this with a Caucasian accused of the same. His lawyer should do all that they can to fight against Cassie testifying. She wasn't sex trafficking. So why are you testifying in a sex trafficking case? He is not being charged with crimes against Cassie. He's being charged with crimes against others. Cassie was paid and dismissed. Why is she being brought back into court after taking that man's money and testifying against him? That right there is clearly an excessive and abusive use of the law. Absolutely wrong. I do not like it. As far as Puffy asking for his case to be delayed, I agree with that. Remember, one of his lawyers recused himself. Okay, at least one of them. So he probably has, some new people on his legal team. They got to get reacclimated and get caught up with what's going on. And I saw nothing wrong with him asking for a 2-month delay. He's already in jail. Y'all didn't give him bail, which y'all also think is a violation of his constitutional rights. So he should have got the 8-week delay. But here we go again. Deion Sanders. We want to make an example out of Puff. Of course, Deion wasn't accused of what Puffy is being accused of, but we want to make an example out of Sean Puffy Combs. He was too confident. He was too big, and it was time for us to bring him down.
The judge is now working to finalize a panel of 12 jurors, along with 6 alternates from the remaining pool. This isn't just any trial. Diddy is facing 5 serious federal charges, and prosecutors allege he was at the center of a criminal operation involving sex and drugs. Adding to the gravity of the case, his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura is expected to potentially testify against him. If convicted, Diddy could face a life sentence. To help navigate the complexities of jury selection in such a high-profile case, the judge brought in legal heavyweight Ben Chew, the same attorney who represented Johnny Depp in his defamation trial against Amber Heard. Chu provided valuable insight into the unique challenges of selecting a fair and impartial jury when a celebrity is on trial, emphasizing the influence of public opinion and media exposure.
You also have a member of the team going through the social media of these jurors, making sure they didn't do anything. I mean, how much research can you do in terms of they search for something? Did they say something? I always am curious about that because you come into court the next day and you always hear a prosecutor or defense attorney say, court, we have an issue we'd like to bring to your attention. Juror number 5 was looking at, it's like, how did they find that out? Is that what happens?
Well, it is in a high-stakes case like this. I mean, because, not all clients have the resources to hire, jury consultants and to hire investigators. But in this case, you have a defendant who's, who could theoretically be sentenced to life in prison, who has the means. So I'm sure, or I would think, that his counsel have a team of investigators following the jurors around to the extent they can and looking for any electronic footprint.
Now, I mentioned before how can you believe the jurors? How do you know they're telling the truth? I'll tell you what we've seen so far in the Combs jury selection process, you have what seems to be a lot of honesty, okay? Because you had one prospective juror who told the court that she had been sexually assaulted as a teenager, and that if the defense brings up a trial that, look, these alleged victims didn't report what they say happened to them, this juror indicated they would understand why, and they would be biased in the alleged victim's favor. This juror was excluded.
Ben Chu explained that in most celebrity trials, people are usually eager to serve on the jury. It feels exciting, like being part of something historic. Surprisingly, few people are volunteering to sit on this jury. According to Chu, it likely comes down to the nature of the case. Unlike Johnny Depp's defamation trial, this is a criminal case and a very serious one at that. The charges Diddy faces involve disturbing allegations, and the evidence presented could be emotionally heavy and graphic. That level of intensity is making potential jurors hesitant. Many are likely thinking twice about getting involved. Adding to the tension, reports say Diddy himself is growing increasingly anxious as the jury selection process continues. And for good reason, the outcome may hinge heavily on who ends up in that jury box.
Morning, day 2 of jury selection in the racketeering and sex trafficking trial of Sean Combs, seen in court with graying hair. Federal prosecutors are trying to prove Combs used his power, wealth, and fame to force women into drug-fueled orgies he called freak-offs and then threaten them into silence. The jury questionnaire warning potential jurors there may be evidence of sexually explicit videos, photographs, and language. Many prospective jurors said they had heard of the case, and this potentially damning evidence, video, first obtained by CNN showing Combs knocking then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura to the floor of a Los Angeles hotel in 2016 and kicking and dragging her. It was upsetting to watch, one woman told the judge, but I don't know the full story, so I can listen to the facts. Many prospective jurors said they recognized the names of other celebrities that might come up at trial. Several potential jurors knew of Combs' cultural significance. The woman said she remembered him from Making the Band. The man said he liked to listen to hip-hop in the 1990s.
Can't nobody hold me down.
When Combs became a chart-topping artist. To remain in the jury pool, all had to say they could be fair. The judge tried to keep things moving, so when the defense asked for a bathroom break, Combs apologized, saying, "Sorry, Your Honor, I'm a little nervous today."
Ben Chu also weighed in on the type of jurors Diddy's legal team might prefer. He suggested that younger, open-minded individuals who aren't easily rattled by intense or graphic details could be more favorable for the defense. Chu also noted that the defense may lean towards selecting more male jurors, not due to any belief that women can't be impartial, but because some of the case's sensitive and potentially disturbing content might be emotionally heavier for women. To process objectively, it's all about finding individuals who can remain calm, neutral, and focused on the facts, no matter how intense the testimony becomes.
You put Johnny Depp on the stand. It's always a high-risk strategy. It worked for you. If you were representing Sean Diddy Combs, would you put him up?
Well, we put Johnny up because he was telling the truth. So that was a very easy decision to make, and he had the burden of proof. And frankly, we couldn't have stopped him even if we wanted to, but we didn't want to. Telling the truth as he did over several days, you're not telling the truth. Guilt attorneys on the other side are going to puncture that. I believe in that system. I think in this case, I don't think he's got any choice. Given that video, he's got to explain it. He's got to say that he's terribly sorry for it, but that was an aberration. That's not who he is. He simply has to say.
And this is where the real drama begins. According to sources, Diddy was not happy about the judge bringing in Johnny Depp's former attorney, Ben Chu, to advise on jury selection. Behind closed doors, he reportedly lost his cool. His legal team hadn't anticipated this move, and the surprise appearance seems to have rattled them. Diddy is said to believe that this decision could have a major influence on the direction of the trial. The makeup of the jury has the power to shape the entire outcome, and for a case this serious, every detail counts.
I think you want somebody who wants to serve, someone eager to serve, because that suggests that person might be inclined toward a celebrity like Diddy. I would also, in this case, I would want men, not because men support abuse, but I could see this being very difficult for women jurors. I would want younger jurors as well. I don't know that older jurors would be good for him.
Do you care where they get their news? Do you care if they go on social media?
I wouldn't care so much about social media. Certainly watching you on Law and Crime would be a real problem. But no, I wouldn't care too much. I mean, in fact, if they were reading the celebrity media, TMZ, Rolling Stone, that might be an encouraging thing for Diddy's counsel.
Now, Ben, according to the court today, they expect preemptory challenges on Friday. You have a lot of jurors who saw the Cassie tape. You have a lot of jurors who were exposed to this case or something that's been going on with Sean Combs, know who he is, maybe know a list of the celebrities or places that were potentially going to be brought up in this case. Difficulty of sitting 8 weeks on this jury, but they're going to be seeing and hearing a lot. Do you think that it's going to be tough to sit a fair and impartial jury in Sean Combs' criminal case?
Well, I think they will have a fair and impartial jury. I think the problem is going to come in, with the Cassandra Ventura's tape. I mean, whether you've seen that before, you're certainly going to see that during the trial. And I think that's highly problematic, obviously, for Diddy, whether they've seen it before or not.
Yeah, because the prosecution is saying she was not only running away from Combs, she was running away from a freak-off, that there was a sex worker in that hotel room. That goes to the charge of sex trafficking, and also racketeering, because sex trafficking is part of that as well. Okay, so the trial's about to start. We know that Sean Combs early in the week said to the court, I'm feeling a little nervous today. Let's say openings begin day 1, May 12th, okay? What do you advise your celebrity client to do and not to do as this trial begins and progresses for 8 weeks?
I would remind him to remember that every second he is in the courtroom, at least one juror and probably more are going to be looking at him. So he should act as if he were testifying every second he's in the courtroom.